welcome to the Capitol.
That's great to be. This is your, what, ceremonial office?
It is, it is.
All right, you weren't the biggest Donald Trump supporter in the campaign. But the relationship seems to have gotten better. As a matter of fact, you went from, let's see, weak and ineffective all the way to fine wine and a good partner. So what did you miss? Do you regret not going in deep before him? What do you think of him now?
Well, we tried to at the end, but schedules, we were going to do this big event in Wisconsin at the end, but they ended up deciding to go to Michigan at the last minute because they thought they had a shot at Michigan, and it was a good decision because they won Michigan. So what I did not see, and I said this at my press conference the day after the election, is Donald Trump heard something that no one else heard. He connected with people in this country unlike anybody I've ever seen before running for president. Remember, I ran for vice president the last election, and I basically thought about an election the way we thought about it in 2012. And what he did was mix up the constituency, the vote coalition. He spoke to people who felt like they hadn't been spoken to in years, and he gave voice to people who felt like they were voiceless. And he tapped into that, and that is something that most people didn't see. And that's something that I said the next day, bravo, very impressed.
And how do you feel about, how's the relationship now?
It's great. It's really good, actually. You know, I didn't know the guy. He didn't know me. I didn't know him. We met basically once. And so what we've been doing, we speak constantly. We talk all the time. We're working on the same plan. What I did during the transition with my counterpart in the Senate, Mitch McConnell, is we put together a 200-day plan for the president to get this agenda that we all agreed on through the system. And we're exactly on track and on our timeline with that agenda.
Well, that's really the biggest part of what I want to discuss today, because let's go through what Donald Trump has done. He started executive orders, eased the burden of Obamacare, impending actions to freeze, get rid of 75% of all regulations. He withdrew from TPP. He had a federal hiring freeze. He banned money to go from foreign countries for abortion. He signed executive action for Keystone, for the Dakota pipeline. He issued executive orders on the construction of the border wall. He stripped money from sanctuary cities. He's taken action, as we all know, on an extreme vetting, and we'll get to that in a minute. He used executive action to rebuild the military. A plan will be on his desk in 7 days to defeat ISIS. And he nominated Neil Gorsuch. We saw him meet with the prime ministers of Canada, Great Britain, and yesterday, of course, Bibi Netanyahu. So what I see, this is the biggest question I'm getting from radio and from television. He's moving at the speed of light. And people have been asking me, it's the top story on the Drudge Report today. Where's Congress? Because for 8 years, you guys had a plan. You kept saying and promising you would repeal, replace Obamacare. And I guess what people want to know is, when are these things going to get done?
We're exactly on the timeline that we designed for ourselves. Obamacare is coming next. The reason...
Starting today, really.
Well, no, our bill is coming in March. Right. So the reason we're doing regulatory reform right now is we have a certain window of time where we can go back into the Obama administration and cancel their regulations. It's a law called the Congressional Review Act, and it has a shelf life for just a couple of months. And so we've been consuming February and March as regulatory reform, going back into the Obama administration and canceling their regulations. And so first it's regulatory reform because we have this window of time to cancel bad Obama regulations. Then we're doing Obamacare. After we're done with Obamacare, then we're doing our budget. And our budget is what the second budget, which will be tax reform. So we're doing 2 budgets in 1 year, which has never been done before. This is faster than it's ever been done before. So you have to understand, there's a legislative process, and we have all of these things we ran on that we said we would do. We're now in the middle of doing those things. And January and February is the regulatory stuff, because the clock on the ability to go after Obama regulations ends soon.
All right, here's the big question. The president ran on an agenda. You said he touched or tapped into something that other people missed. Well, we have 13 million more Americans on food stamps, 8 million more in poverty, lowest labor participation rate, lowest home ownership rate in 51 years. So here's my question. Donald Trump runs and he says, I'm going to build a wall, repeal and replace Obamacare. He says, I'm going to vet refugees. I'm going to make America energy independent. We're going to go from 7 brackets to 3, corporate tax rate 15%, allow repatriation to 10% for multinational corporations. He runs on education back to the states, fixing the VA, building up our military to have a stronger military. This is the question that I think conservatives and Americans, and I would call this the forgotten man election, they want to know, and this hopefully you'll answer today. Because I heard everything from Obamacare will be done day 1 to the spring, to the summer, to by the end of the year. And so it's been all over the map, not just from you, but from other people. I also heard people
It
say...
actually hasn't been all over the map from us, from me.
Okay. Well,
It's been
members
all
of
over the map
Congress...
for the press. It's been all over the map from rumor mills. But from us here in Congress, we're exactly on the timeline that we laid out for ourselves.
When I heard repair, my head nearly exploded.
That's not the plan. The plan is to repeal and replace this law. Like we said, we ran on a plan to repeal and replace it. Tom Price helped write that plan. He is now Donald Trump's Secretary of HHS.
So there is a consensus plan that's now being scored by the CBO?
Correct.
Okay, so here's my question. I just listed his agenda, what he ran on, for the forgotten men and women that voted for him. Do you...
Which just to get, that's the agenda we're working on right now. That's the
Is there any item that I mentioned that you disagree with?
No, not at all.
In the 200, you're saying to the American people and conservatives that are impatient, including myself, and you heard my monologue.
I would like to do this yesterday, but getting Congress to act on all those things you just said in 1 year's time, unprecedented. We do these things. This will be the most productive presidency and Congress in our lifetimes.
That's my question. You agree with every item I mentioned, even extreme vetting?
Yeah, we passed that bill a year ago in the House.
I know you now agree with building the wall.
Yes.
You have
by the way, I did back then too. But that was in the plan that the House Republicans ran on. That was in Donald Trump's plan.
It's actually it was supposed to be done in 06.
It's actually a bill I voted for in 2006. But the problem we had since 2006 was Barack Obama was our president. Now we have a president who's actually serious about securing the border.
And coming up, more of my sit-down interview with Speaker Paul Ryan, and also tonight,